As you can see, I'm bouncing around in my chair because I'm settling into the saddle for the resumption of the live stream here at wyoming-football.com. All the 6 o'clock games have gone final. 7 o'clock games are all into the third or fourth quarter, and so let's get back into it. So, um, first of all, the finals from the 6 o'clock games. It was Sheridan, the defending 4A champions. They topped Laramie 42 to 13 tonight. Interstate games, Lyman, of course, beat Altamont, Utah 36 to 8. Big win for Lyman there to start their season. Newcastle just rolled over Custer, South Dakota. That was 48 to 2 was the final there. And then Powell beat Miles City, Montana, 27 to 20. Miles City, always a tough team to beat, but Powell goes on the road, gets that victory, and Wyoming officially 3-0 so far against non-Wyoming teams today. So it's a great start. So, like I said, most of the 7 o'clock games have gone into the third or fourth quarters. Just recently, Rock Springs and Cheyenne East started the fourth quarter. Rock Springs is up in that one 14 to 7. Gillette and Kelly Walsh also went into the fourth quarter. Gillette up 21 to 0 on Kelly Walsh there. A little update into the third quarter. Wyoming is not going to be 1-0 or undefeated against out-of-state teams anymore. Teton is just throttling Jackson. Teton, Idaho up 40 to 0 on Jackson after 3 quarters. So, another update for you in the third quarter. Cheyenne South is up on Evanston 21 to 10, and it looks like Cheyenne South just got another touchdown. So 27 to 10. Cheyenne South showing some real spark under the new head coach Dan Gallus. 27-10 with the extra point still to come for the Cheyenne South Bison. Bison. I used to teach at North Dakota State University. If I say Bison with a Z, that's why. But the Cheyenne South Bison now up 27 to 10. Star Valley again not having any problems with Juab, Utah. Just started the third quarter there. Star Valley is up 35 to nothing on that Utah squad. It is just an absolute thumping. So that's where that is at. Cheyenne Central and Natrona, last I knew, were scoreless. They had a long lightning delay there in Casper, so they're going to be a little bit later than usual. Hewlett-Matizzi also playing a 6-man game tonight. Haven't heard anything on that, so no update there. Upton Sundance was thumping on Leeds, South Dakota. That was 35-0 in the second quarter last I saw. Rollins also up. They were up 7-0 on Moffat County, Colorado from Craig. That was at halftime last I knew. Rollins up 7-0 at halftime. Sometimes I have little pregnant pauses here to bring you these live updates. I've got to go find the score. Every once in a while, I'm going to take a little break. That said, if you want to ask me a question, hit me up. I am on Twitter at Wyoming Football. You can also go to facebook.com/Wyoming Football History. I am there as well. I'm also, of course, on the YouTube live stream. No duh. And you can ask me questions in the YouTube chat. So, give me just a second here. I want to do a little tweeting and sharing here, and give me just a second here. So the biggest surprise to me tonight, I think, has been one Cheyenne South doing very, very well, up 28 to 10 against Evanston. I thought Evanston was going to be okay. I did not expect Cheyenne South to just come out gangbusters, up 28-10, really taking it to Evanston. That's pretty surprising. So. All right. Update from Gillette. Gillette now up 28-0 on Kelly Walsh. Early in the fourth quarter there, Clementson gets his second touchdown of the game, I believe. It's been a good game for Gillette there. I take that back. It's 29-0. Our friends at Camel Sports and Grant Egger from the Gillette News Record doing their thing. We appreciate their updates. So, another update. Ooh, big game here between Rock Springs and Cheyenne East, of course, was the Wyoming-football.com game of the week this week on the blog. It looks like Cheyenne East has tied that one up in the fourth quarter. It is 14-14 with 8:26 to go in the fourth quarter. Ethan Ashworth with the 66-yard touchdown catch from Matt Selmer. And it is 14-14 with about 8.5 to go in the fourth. Thanks to Keith Kelly at KFBC Radio in Cheyenne for that update. Another big surprise this week was Newcastle. Newcastle absolutely dominated Custer, South Dakota. The final score in that one again. I got to double check this one because this one was a lot of points. 48-2. Just waylaid the Wildcats from South Dakota. And I honestly picked Custer in that game, so I was a little bit surprised by that. I figured Newcastle, they had a down year last year and lost several seniors to graduation. I was not high on the Dogies this year. Clearly, either I was wrong about the Dogies or I gave Custer way too much credit. Looks like Newcastle is going to be a force to be reckoned with there, and really, really excited to see how that comes out. At halftime, we have a halftime score here in Casper. Natrona and Cheyenne Central are all tied up at zeros, and that game at halftime. That's a bit surprising. I know Cheyenne Central's got a lot of pride, but I figured Natrona would also be pretty strong. Of course, if I recall, last year, the Natrona Central game, I believe, ended up 16-0 in favor of Natrona. It was a very hard-fought, tight game. Natrona got, I think, a late score or two to kind of seal that one. So it shouldn't be too surprising, but Natrona and Central really, really, really in a dogfight there. So, again, if you want to ask me any questions, if we want to chat, first of all, there's the live chat available on YouTube. Ask me a question there. Hit me up on Twitter at Wyoming Football. Hit me up on Facebook, facebook.com/Wyoming Football History. Longest URL in history. No, I didn't pick it. Yes, I've got to stick with it. But if you've got any questions there, ask away. I am happy to answer all of your questions. So, latest updates on the live streams that I have going for you. Star Valley beating Juab, Utah, 35-0, a little less than 6 minutes to go in the third quarter there. And Cheyenne South has the ball after an Evanston punt. South up 28-10 on Evanston. Dan Gallus looks to have Cheyenne South poised for its first victory in a season opener in program history. That would be, as I talked about earlier tonight, that would be huge for that program to get that first W. Then they've got their two rivalry games with their two Cheyenne rivals, Central next week, East the following week. If somehow Cheyenne South can come out of that with 2, maybe even 3 victories, wow, they might be a team renewed. Be interesting to see how that all plays out. Of course, they got to wrap this one up against Evanston tonight, up 28-10 there in the third quarter, doing pretty well. I think I won't say they've got it under control, but up 18 in the third and with the ball, things are definitely looking good for the Bison. One of the other 4A games that happened today, the only 4A game that is a final so far, Sheridan beat Laramie 42-13. I don't think anyone was surprised by that. Sheridan was up 42-0 at one point. Sheridan, of course, the defending state champions. Laramie still looking to find their footing. I really do think Laramie will be a pretty decent team this year. I just think Sheridan is Sheridan. They're loaded for bear. They're going to be in the title hunt again this year. And even an improved Laramie team wasn't going to hang with Sheridan. Not today. Maybe in week 8, but not today. I think Laramie has some pretty good talent, especially in the skill positions. I think they'll surprise a team or two. Um, but tonight, they just definitely did not have the firepower to stick with who they needed to stick with tonight in the defending state champions and shared. The one game I haven't heard anything about tonight was Hewlett-Matizzi. I haven't heard anything on that one. That they were playing that as a game, not as a scrimmage. They were doing live everything, and of course, if it's live and there's officials and normal timing rules and normal scoring rules, I count it as a game. So Hewlett-Matizzi, we're going to do that tonight. I haven't heard anything on that, but I don't anticipate that I will anytime soon, so that's okay. Other games in progress: Jackson 0, Teton, Idaho a lot. Jackson just getting blown out in that one tonight, unfortunately, on the other side of the Tetons. Star Valley holding up Wyoming's end of the bargain on the west side, just destroying Juab, Utah. And Upton Sundance, last I saw, was thumping on Lee Deadwood, South Dakota. They were up, I believe it was 35-0 at halftime. So the other out-of-state game that's going on today is still active is Rawlins and Moffat County, Colorado. Rawlins was up 7-0 at halftime against Moffat County, the Bulldogs from Craig. And that's where we're at right now. So let's see. All right, I've been waiting all night to get the Rawlins Moffat County, Colorado live stream to work, and I think I just got it to work. That's why the little pregnant pause there. Very, very excited to see if the Rawlins game is indeed streaming live. I've got the spinning wheel of death, which is sometimes good and sometimes bad. We'll see soon enough. Like I said, last I knew that game was 7-0 Rawlins at halftime. Another 3A team, Star Valley, still putting a whooping on Juab, Idaho, 35-0. South and Evanston still going South, still up 28-10 on Evanston. Looks like South did have to give the ball up, though. So it is Evanston ball, but South up 28-10 there in the third quarter in Cheyenne. Little pause there. It looks like Jackson was about ready to get on the scoreboard. Didn't happen. Forgive my little pause there. Jackson's still scoreless right now against Teton, Idaho. Teton definitely in control in that game. So, I was also very impressed with Powell tonight. I gotta give Powell a shout out. I did not pick Powell to win today. I don't think I picked Powell to win today. Let me double check. No, I did not pick Powell to win today, but Powell did win today. They beat Miles City, went on the road and beat a Miles City team that's always tough to beat. Beat Miles City 27-20 tonight. So Powell starting the season with a victory. Great effort from them. Really excited to see what Powell can do. Of course, Powell's got great tradition, lots of state titles very recently. Kind of have fallen off the last couple years. Of course, Jim Stringer's death was very untimely and still very sad. But I think Powell is starting to find its footing a little bit maybe tonight, thanks to this victory. And we'll see what Powell can do next week. But for now, Powell looking very sharp in their season opener. Powell gets to go to Douglas next week, and Douglas was, of course, one of my preseason favorites. I had them number 2 behind Star Valley in my 3A preseason rankings. So Powell's going to get put right to the test next week, but nevertheless, a nice victory against a team that's always tough out of Miles City tonight, 27-20. All right, final score out of Jackson. was Teton 40, Jackson 0. Of course, that game was not in Jackson. It was in Idaho. Teton, Idaho with the 40-0 victory over Jackson tonight. Give a shout out to the Jackson Hole High School Black Hole. Their student section was tweeting that final score tonight. Again, the final Teton 40, Jackson yet to score. So, excuse me while I type this score in. Of course, Wyoming-football.com. All of the scores from tonight will be up on the 2016 schedule and results page. So if you go to Wyoming-football.com, you can go to the results by year and just tap 2016, or you can go to Wyoming-football.com/2016.html. All of the results from tonight, all of the results from all season long will be posted at that page at Wyoming-football.com. Scored update from Gillette. Gillette was only up 7-0 at halftime against Kelly Walsh. They have really taken control in the second half. Gillette now up 36-0 on Kelly Walsh here in the fourth quarter. Again, if you have any questions, hit me up on Facebook. It's facebook.com/WyomingFootballHistory. You can also find me on Twitter at WyomingFootball. And of course, if you want to chat in real time, hit me up on the chat here on the live stream. I was trying to figure out where I was hearing the music. It's coming from my headphones. I'm hearing an ad come through my headphones, and there's piano music, and I was like, where is that piano coming from? Okay. Well, it's coming from the thing making sound next to my ears. Imagine that. Again, a refresher, the early games tonight that were finals, Lyman 36, Altamont, Utah 8. That went final. That was the first game of the day. It kicked off at 5. Lyman, big interstate victory over Altamont, Utah tonight. Newcastle, of course, big win over Custer, South Dakota, 48-2. Good win for the Dogies to start the season. Powell beat Miles City, Montana, 27-20. Teton, Idaho beat Jackson 40-0, and it was Sheridan over Laramie, 42-13. All right. Looks like Star Valley's shutout streak is over. Juab, Utah finally gets on the board. However, Star Valley still leading comfortably in that game, 35-7. That game in the third quarter. Thanks to Dal Erickson there at the Star Valley Independent. He's doing the live stream of that game tonight. He's also tweeting updates, and appreciate his help. 3 minutes to go in the Rock Springs Cheyenne East game being played there in Rock Springs. Rock Springs up 21-14. Reminder, that was the Wyoming-football.com game of the week this week. I did pick Rock Springs to win. Rock Springs up 21-14 there with 3 minutes to go. Boy, if Rock Springs can get that, that is really going to send a message to the rest of the state. And I think maybe some other folks around the state will start taking the Tigers seriously. I had them third in my preseason rankings. It wouldn't surprise me at all if they beat East. I think it would surprise some other people, though. But Rock Springs is loaded this year. Matt Fowler, a tremendous running back, one of the best running backs in the state, has been for a couple years now, and he's in an offense that emphasizes the run, but he's also got people around him who can take the pressure off him, and that's really going to help him. Matt Fowler scored that go-ahead touchdown with 2:56 to go. Thanks to Keith Kelly at KFBC Radio for that detail. End of the third quarter in Cheyenne South now leading Evanston 28-10. South got that touchdown about midway through the third quarter. They've been up 28-10 for a while now. Score still 28-10 South up on Evanston heading into the fourth quarter. And that's where we're at right now. Okay. All right. So Cheyenne South still is that game, that score is still somewhat of a surprise to me. I wasn't too sure about the Bison this year. They 0-9 last year and breaking in a new coach. Turns out maybe a new coach was exactly what the doctor ordered. Oh boy, Cheyenne South just scored again. So South up now 34-10. PAT pending against Evanston. Oh my goodness! Look at the Bison celebrate. That has to feel good for that program. They are just a few minutes away from their first season opening victory in program history. They are very, very close to being above 500 for the first time in program history. That's got to be a good feeling for them. 5 years of struggle. It's got to be good to be on the verge of victory. And right now, Cheyenne South is on the verge of victory. So, Keyshawn Farmer was the one who scored that touchdown for Cheyenne South. 12-yard touchdown run, thanks to Jeremiah Jonke, one of my nearest and dearest friends there at WYO Sports, Wyoming Tribune Eagle in Cheyenne. He lets me know that it's Keyshawn Farmer who scores that touchdown, and South now up 35-10 after the successful extra point. Star Valley still in control against Joab, Utah. About 2 minutes to go in the third quarter there. Star Valley up 35-7. Still trying to get the live feed from the Rollins Moffat County, Colorado game to work. I've gotten the spinning wheel of death a couple times. I've seen people on a field, but they're motionless. And I know football is not a motionless game, so I know that's just a frozen screen. Trying hard to get that and trying hard to get an update for you that's a little bit more live. Excuse me. Last I knew, it was 7-6. Rollins was up on Moffat County, Colorado there in the fourth quarter there in Rollins. Interesting detail here from Jeremiah Jonke there at WYO Sports. He just said Cheyenne South now has his largest lead in school history. They're up 35-10 on Evanston. 25-point lead is the biggest lead for a Cheyenne South football team ever. Jeremiah's thought was, now please hopefully that just didn't jinx it for the Bison. We all know we don't want to count our chickens before they're hatched, right? That's definitely the case here. So, I need to update a score. Star Valley is up on Joab, Utah. It's 35-6. I believe I said 35-7 earlier. Joab missed that extra point. It is 35-6. The Braves up on the Joab Wasps out of Utah. So it's 35-6 there, not 35-7. Making sure that that's clear. Another 35 score, of course, Cheyenne South, 35-10 up on Evanston. Last I heard, Central Natrona was still 0-0. That game was at halftime. East Rock Springs up 21-14. That game should be coming to an end here pretty soon. Rock Springs scored the go-ahead touchdown with just under 3 minutes to go, and that was about 5 minutes ago. So I'm assuming that Rock Springs East game will be coming to an end here shortly. Other active games right now, Kelly Walsh Gillette. Gillette was up 36-0 against Kelly Walsh again. That was a 7-0 game at halftime. Gillette's really taking it to Kelly Walsh there in the second half. Leeds, South Dakota against Upton Sundance. Upton Sundance was up 49-0 at halftime. That game should be over shortly thanks to the 45-point rule. And Moffat County, Colorado and Rollins. Rollins up 7-6 in the fourth quarter last I knew there. So, just got a text from my wife. You'll excuse me if I answer her, right? She is, number one in life. The website's like number two. Okay, so thank you for bearing with me on that. So again, active game, Central Natrona scoreless at halftime. There was a weather delay in Casper. That's why that game is only at halftime here at 9:10 Mountain Time. Cheyenne East and Rock Springs. Rock Springs up 21-14 late in the fourth quarter. South Evanston South up 35-10 on Evanston. That game early in the fourth quarter. Kelly Walsh Gillette up 36-0. That game in the fourth quarter. Juab Utah Star Valley. Star Valley is up in that one 35-6. I believe that is, yes, end of the third quarter. Start of the fourth quarter. Star Valley up 35-6. Upton Sundance was up 49-0 on Leeds, South Dakota at halftime, and Rollins up on Moffat County, Colorado, 7-6 in the fourth quarter. Ooh, an update from our friends at YO Preps on the Rock Springs East game. Sounds like Rock Springs got an interception in the end zone to snuff out Cheyenne East's drive. So Rock Springs has the ball with about a minute and 45 seconds to go. Has the ball and the lead. Rock Springs up 21-14. Less than 2 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, and they have the ball. Sounds like Rock Springs might be wrapping up that first victory of the season. Big victory if they can get that over East. Seismic victory that would change a lot about the hierarchy of Class 4A football in Wyoming. A reminder, as if you haven't heard enough already, that was my game of the week this week on wyoming-football.com. And it turns out with good reason, because holy cow. Can you believe it? Rock Springs might get that win over East here to start the season. So, my cat says hi. Oh, never mind. He doesn't want us be on camera. Yeah. Normally on a Friday night, this will be a little bit crazier. We only have, I believe the count was 13 games. Only had 13 games tonight. Of course, the 5 Class 4A games. That is the official start of the Class 4A season here in 0 week. Hewlett and Meeteetse played a 6-man game. Most of the other 6-man schools opted for scrimmages in 0 week, or they took the week off. But Hewlett and Meeteetse actually played a game. They brought in officials. All of their special teams were live. Normal timing rules, normal scoring rules, as I understand it. I haven't heard an update on that one, but I didn't anticipate that I would hear an update on that one. And then there's 7 out-of-state games. 4 of those have already gone final. Lyman beating Altamont, Utah. Newcastle beating Custer, South Dakota. Powell beating Miles City, Montana. And Teton, Idaho beating Jackson. And then the 3 live ones I have mentioned. This is Teddy. He says hi. So, as you might be able to hear in my headphones, I've got several live streams going at the same time, trying to keep up with everything. I also am on Twitter at Wyoming Football. I'm also on Facebook at Wyoming. It's facebook.com/Wyoming Football History. Monitoring Twitter here. Looks like Gillette has scored again. A 62-yard interception return by Anthony Johnson. Gillette now up on Kelly Walsh 43-0. That game in the final 2 minutes. Thanks to our friends at YO Varsity for that update and Casper Star Tribune. All right, Star Valley has scored again. I heard the Star Valley live stream all of a sudden get really loud in my ears here, or get really loud on my neck here. So Star Valley has scored against Juab, Utah. Star Valley up 41-6 with the extra point to come. Early in the fourth quarter there in Afton. I'm watching the extra point right now. Oh, that was a bad snap, and the holder got tackled. So it is still 41-6. Star Valley up on Juab, Utah. About 11 minutes to go in the fourth quarter there. It looks like the defending 3A champ is going to cruise to victory here in this season opener for them. Teddy was wondering how the Wildcats did tonight. Well, there aren't any Wildcats in Wyoming. The Custer Wildcats lost to Newcastle. Sorry, bud. Reminder, if you've got any questions, anything you want to talk about, you can hit me up on the live chat here on the YouTube live stream. You can also hit me up on Twitter at Wyoming Football, facebook.com/Wyoming Football History. Any questions that you've got, I'm happy to answer them. I'm happy to talk about Wyoming football, and I'm happy to answer them live. So if you post the question, I will answer it immediately here on the live stream. So, quick update on the Star Valley game. That was Dylan Schwab with the touchdown. He caught the touchdown pass. It was Peyton Erickson who threw it. Thanks to Dal Erickson again from the Star Valley Independent and the guy on the live stream for the Star Valley game tonight. He sharing those details with us. Update from our friends at WyoPreps about the Rock Springs East game. Rock Springs, of course, had the ball, intercepted a Cheyenne East pass. Rock Springs had to punt and shanked the punt. Now East has the ball at Rock Springs 30-yard line with 38 seconds to go. Rock Springs up 21-14, 38 seconds to go with that one, but East in scoring position with the ball at the 30-yard line of Rock Springs with 38 seconds to go. Again, thanks to our friends at WyoPreps for providing that information. Other games in progress right now, Gillette shutting out Kelly Walsh. Cheyenne South still taking it to Evanston 35-10. Star Valley just destroying Juab. Utah, Upton Sundance up big on Lead South Dakota. Mercy Rule going to be invoked in that one. And last I heard it was Rollins 7, Moffat County, Colorado 6 there in the fourth quarter in Rollins. So a defensive battle in Rollins there. Haven't heard any updates yet. But as soon as I hear one, or if I can get the live stream to work, we will share that with you. I'm really excited. I've mentioned this before. I'll mention it again. Really excited to see Cheyenne South get their first victory in a season opener in program history. They're taking it to Evanston. I think that'll keep up. All right. Final from Gillette. Gillette has defeated Kelly Walsh 43-0. That's the final there in Gillette. Gillette 43, Kelly Walsh 0. As our friend Grant Egger from the Gillette News Record pointed out, Gillette outscores Kelly Walsh 36-0 in the second half. It was a 7-0 game at halftime, but Gillette 36 points in the second half to win 43-0. So, excuse me while I update the score of that game on wyoming-football.com. Of course, all your scores are going to be available at wyoming-football.com all year long. wyoming-football.com, and you can go to results by year and just tap on 2016, or you can also go to wyoming-football.com/2016.html. That's where all the scores and results will be. Ooh, update from Casper. Cheyenne Central has blocked a Natrona County punt and gotten a safety. So Natrona down to Cheyenne Central 2-0 in the third quarter. Dre McCray, a touchdown for Cheyenne South. He gets his third touchdown of the night. Gets a 75-yard run. Wow, South up 41-10 on Evanston. I'm going to repeat that. South up 41-10 on Evanston. That has got to feel good for the Cheyenne South supporters. Wow. Okay. Extra point kicks in. Cheyenne South now up 42-10. Big news from Rock Springs. It sounds like Cheyenne East has scored on a Hail Mary touchdown pass with no time left. So, Cheyenne East now down 21-20 to Rock Springs. The extra point upcoming. Oh my gosh, I think I picked the right game for the game of the week. What do you guys think? Hit me up on Twitter. wyoming-football.com. Twitter at Wyoming Football. Facebook. Facebook.com/Wyoming Football History. Ooh, East High Athletics on Twitter at CHEY East. Lets us know that Cheyenne East is going to go for the win. East is going to go for the win. They're going for the 2-point conversion after scoring on the last play of the game. Do or die. I don't know how that has come out yet, but oh my gosh. And of course, the conventional wisdom is always play for the tie at home, play for the win on the road. East is on the road, so they're going for the win. They've got the momentum. They're the ones who scored the touchdown. I love it. I love the aggressive decision. Uh, go for that win, especially if you think maybe your team is tired and wouldn't hold up as well in overtime. Go for the win when you have the chance. Why not? And of course, an extra point, it doesn't matter how good your kicker is, an extra point at the high school level is never a guarantee. So, going for two here, Cheyenne East going for two against Rock Springs. Uh, I keep waiting for an update, and I haven't seen one yet. I'm guessing either Cheyenne East or Rock Springs, or both of them will take timeouts in this situation. Across town, or across the state, excuse me, the crosstown rival of Cheyenne East is Cheyenne South, and Cheyenne South just taking it to Evanston, 42-10. That game in the fourth quarter. Uh, all right, our friends at YO Preps have filled us in. Rock Springs has held. Final: Rock Springs 21, Cheyenne East 20. Wow. Rock Springs with the victory. Uh, Rock Springs gets that victory at home. It'll be interesting to see if those two teams meet up again in the playoffs, which they very well might. It'd be interesting to see how that happens. It was Ethan Ashworth with the nearly game-tying score for Cheyenne East. Matt Selmer on the toss. It was on a 4th and 14 play. Thanks to Keith Kelly for those details. KFBC Radio in Cheyenne. Ends up being all for naught, though, as Rock Springs holds on for that 21-20 win. Excuse me while I update Wyoming-football.com with that final score. All right. Games in progress. Cheyenne Central is up 2-0 on Natrona, that game in the third quarter. Of course, Cheyenne South up 42-10 on Evanston in the fourth quarter. Star Valley up on Juab, Utah, 41-6. Upton Sundance, last I knew, was up on Lead, South Dakota, 49-0. Running clock will be in effect for the second half there. Rollins was up on Moffat County, Colorado, 7-6 in the fourth quarter. The live stream never came alive on that game. The live stream is officially dead stream there. Unfortunately, but looking for an update on that one. Haven't heard anything. Last I heard, though, it was Rollins 7, Moffat County 6, that game in the fourth quarter. So, just tweeting out another link to this live stream. We'll see if anyone joins us. As a reminder, here's the finals so far as we have them. It was in Class 4A, Gillette beating Kelly Walsh 43-0. Rock Springs beating Cheyenne East 21-20. Again, big win for the Tigers there. Sheridan beat Laramie 42-13. Just noticed all the home teams have won in the Class 4A games today. Cheyenne South is going to make that 4-for-4. They're up big on Evanston. Natrona losing at home right now to Cheyenne Central, but we'll see how that goes. Six-man game, Hewlett at Matitsi. That game kicked off at 7. Haven't heard any updates on that one yet. Unlike the other six-man games, other six-man contests this week, that was actually a game with officials and special teams plays and the whole 9 yards. So I hope to hear a final score on that before I go to bed tonight, but we'll see. Interstate games, Lyman beat Altamont, Utah tonight, 36-8. It was Newcastle beating Custer, South Dakota, 48-2. Powell beat Miles City, Montana, 27-20. And it was Teton, Idaho, just shutting out Jackson in an absolute throttling, 40-0. 3 games still active in the interstate realm. Juab, Utah, and Star Valley. Star Valley up big in that one, 41-6 in the fourth quarter. Upton Sundance, again, up on Lead, South Dakota. Last I heard, 49-0 at halftime. And Rollins and Moffat County, Colorado. It was 7-6 in the fourth quarter. Rollins up in that game. Oh, an update from Casper. Thanks to our friends at K2 TV Sports. Central got a field goal against Natrona. Don't know how far, don't know who kicked it, but Central is up 5-0 now on Natrona in the third quarter there in Casper. They're in the third quarter there in Casper because of lightning delay. Was delayed more than a half an hour, and we are now with that rare 5 score. If Cheyenne Central can hold on to that 5 score, you can guarantee I'm going to retweet that blog post I had this summer about all the games that had ended with final scores of 4 or 5. They're really rare. There's only been about a dozen teams that have ended with a score of 5 in Wyoming high school football history, and only once has a team, well, once since 1920, has a team ever won by scoring exactly 5 points, and that was Cheyenne East beating Natrona 5-3 in the 4A playoffs back in 2006, I believe. So if Cheyenne Central can somehow hold on to this 5-digit and win the game, they're going to enter some very rare company, and they'll do it with their Thunderbird brothers from just down the street. I was going to say it looks like a pretty good night for Cheyenne, and then I realized East had fallen to Rock Springs. But South up on Evanston, that's 42-10 in the fourth quarter, and Central now up on Natrona 5-0. All right. Just checking the other live streams. Looks like Juab Utah did score here midway through the fourth quarter against Star Valley. So Juab cutting into Star Valley's lead a little bit. It is now Star Valley 41, Juab 14 in the palindrome score, 4-1-1-4. So Juab getting some points in garbage time. I'm sure Star Valley and Coach McKay Young probably just getting his guys some playing time, getting his younger guys in a game that the Braves have had control from the very beginning. They're up 28-0 at halftime, up 41-0 late in that game. Juab's thrown in a couple garbage time touchdowns together, and they are now at 41-14 there in Afton. Okay, so still 6 live games out there, 5 that I think will actually get scores from tonight. Central Natrona, Evanston South, Juab Star Valley lead Upton Sundance, and then Moffat County Rollins. 2 of those, of course, 4A games. 4A officially getting their season underway tonight. All the home teams have won so far. Gillette only up 7-0 at halftime, came back and beat Kelly Walsh 43-0. Dominant second half by the Camels, who were my preseason number 1 in Class 4A. I think they're going to be a really, really good team. Slow start tonight, but I think maybe they found their legs in the second half. I think that bodes well for the Camels. I think they learned a lot tonight, and I think they're going to be a pretty dangerous team. Be interesting to see how Gillette handles things from here. They do have the long trip to Evanston next week. Looking ahead a little bit more, then they get Cheyenne Central week 2, Natrona week 3. So it does look like maybe the Camels will have a couple games to maybe get their legs underneath them, start to feel their way. The Camels returned a lot of players, but they also lost a lot of key players, so there might be some learning that the Camels have to do. I think maybe they did a lot of that learning in the first half tonight. So, again, 7-0 at halftime, but the Camels win that game 43-0 against Kelly Walsh. The other 4A final, other than Rock Springs East and Gillette Kelly Walsh, is Sheridan Laramie. Sheridan was up 42-0. Laramie got a couple garbage time touchdowns. Final score ended up being Sheridan 42, Laramie 13. No surprise there. Sheridan defending 4A champions. Were expected to do some great things. They were my preseason number 2 behind Gillette. Laramie, I thought, was improved, but clearly not improved enough to hang with the best in Sheridan tonight. Reminder, you can hit me up with the YouTube chat function if you have any questions. Just feel free to type in the chat area. I will respond as soon as I see it. I'm also on Twitter at Wyoming Football, or you can find me on Facebook, which is facebook.com/Wyoming Football History, the longest URL in history. I hate it, but I can't change it. It kind of got forced on me, so check it out. Give it a shot. That's where I'm at, facebook.com/Wyoming Football History, on Twitter at Wyoming Football, and of course, right here in the chat on YouTube. Go ahead and hit me up. The other finals that I have, Lyman beat Altamont, Utah 36-8. Newcastle beat Custer, South Dakota 48-2. Powell beat Miles City, Montana 27-20, and Teton, Idaho beat Jackson 40-0. Looks like a good night for the Wyoming teams in the out-of-state competition. So far, 3-1, and in the other 3 games that are active, Wyoming teams are leading in all 3. So Wyoming could finish 6-1 against out-of-state competition this week in 0-week games, which would be fantastic. I don't really root for any particular Wyoming high school, except for maybe Midwest, just because that's my alma mater. But on a whole, I really do root for the Wyoming teams when they play out-of-state competition. Even though I don't always pick them to win, I definitely always root for them to win. So that would be great if Wyoming could do a little of that, make their presence known regionally, go 6-1. That'd be pretty awesome. So far, 2 of those interstate games that are still active, securely in the Wyoming column. Star Valley big on Joab, Utah. Upton Sundance up big on Lead, South Dakota, and it was Rollins 7-6 up on Moffat County, Colorado in the 4th quarter, waiting for some kind of update or final score on that one, and I have not seen it yet. Like I mentioned, the Rollins live stream of that game tonight is officially a dead stream. I do not see anything coming over the screen on that. So we are just SOL on that one. Normally on a Friday night, this will be a lot busier. As I mentioned, this is 0 week. The only teams that are actually playing games tonight are the 4A teams, the teams that are playing out-of-state games, and then Hewlett and Meeteetse, who decided to actually play a game at the 6-man level. So normally on a Friday night, I think this is going to be a lot busier. I appreciate you coming and checking things out tonight. Means a lot to see viewers come in and to see you check this out with me. I'm not totally sure what this is going to meld into, but I am really excited to give this a try, and I'm really excited that you want to see what I'm doing here. If you have ideas, if you are thinking of things that you would like to see differently, if you think there are things I can do to kind of help you and aid you along and help you get a better grip on what is happening in Wyoming high school football, I would love to help with that. We have a final from Cheyenne. Cheyenne South has defeated Evanston. The final there, 42-10. So Cheyenne South gets their first victory in a season opener in program history. That is awesome. Congratulations, Cheyenne South Bison, 1-0 for the first time. So again, the final, Cheyenne South 42, Evanston 10. Excuse me as I update that on wyoming-football.com. So Cheyenne South was the home team tonight. So now home teams 4-0 at the 4A level. I don't know what that says, but Gillette, Rock Springs, Sheridan, and now Cheyenne South, the home teams tonight. And they are 4-0. And the 5th home team is Natrona, and Natrona right now down to Cheyenne Central 5-0 in the 3rd quarter. Of course, that game in the 3rd quarter, only in the 3rd quarter because of that weather delay there in Casper this evening. Kind of set back the start of that game a little bit. Like I was saying, I'm not totally sure what this is going to turn into. I hope to give live scores, live updates, a little bit of commentary along the way, give you some of my take on the games and the results and what they mean. Excuse me while I tweet. Just tweeting that Cheyenne South has won its first season opener in program history. Of quite an accomplishment for them. So, Cheyenne South 1-0 for the first time ever. An update, thanks to our friends here at WyoPreps. Boy, Upton Sundance, not having any mercy on Lead Deadwood. Upton Sundance up in the fourth quarter, up on Lead Deadwood, South Dakota. The score on that one, 56-0. Of course, Upton Sundance was a juggernaut last year. Did lose to Lingle, but still came back and won the state championship game fairly handily against Tongue River. So I shouldn't be surprised to see Upton Sundance win. And they are not only winning, they are blasting the Gold Diggers out of Lead Deadwood, South Dakota. So Upton Sundance 56, Lead Deadwood 0. That game in the fourth quarter. That game was 49-0 at halftime. That game a running clock. We shouldn't be too surprised by that one. But boy, are they going to be scary, Upton Sundance. Again, my preseason number one in Class 1A11, man, I don't think anyone is even in the conversation right now. Maybe Shoshone, maybe Tongue River, maybe Cokeville, maybe Southeast. But those teams are much, much further behind than Upton Sundance. An intriguing game to think about next week in week 1. Upton Sundance goes to Newcastle. So the 1A11 man Patriots going to Newcastle to play the 2A Dogies, both with big wins tonight. Newcastle beat Custer, South Dakota 48-2. Upton Sundance again up 56-0 on Lead South Dakota. So next week in Newcastle, Upton Sundance will be playing Newcastle, and again, both coming off big victories. Early front runner for Wyoming-football.com game of the week next week. You'll just have to wait and see which game I pick, but that's a very intriguing proposition. Cody Tucker, my friend in Douglas, hits us up on Twitter. Says Star Valley looking really, really good tonight. I definitely agree, sir. That Star Valley Douglas game in week 3, as Cody noted on Twitter, going to be a big one. Really excited to see how that game comes out. I had Douglas and Star Valley. Well, let's flip that around. I had Star Valley and Douglas 1-2 in that order in my preseason rankings. Douglas, of course, coming off a losing record. They were 3-6 last year, and I had them number 2 in my preseason rankings. That's just because they graduated. You know, the players they graduated, while they were good, they just weren't that many. So Douglas returns a bunch of starters. I believe it's 9 starters on both sides of the ball. Douglas not playing an official game tonight. Let me check my schedule here. Douglas, oh yes, they are at the Wheatland Jamboree. It's going to be Douglas, Wheatland, and Southeast in Wheatland on Saturday. It's going to be interesting to see how Douglas does, not only in that first game, but all season long. Quick check-in on the Star Valley game. Star Valley beating Juab 41-14. That game 2 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games still active. We know the outcome. We can pretty much chalk up Star Valley and Upton Sundance with victories tonight, as I've just mentioned. Of course, Rollins in Moffat County, Colorado, still active. Rollins was up 7-6 in the fourth quarter, last I knew there. And then Hewlett-Meeteetse playing a 6-man game in Meeteetse. I don't expect to hear anything on that one tonight. Just the nature of how 6-man goes and how 0 weeks go. 6-man teams, once we get into the season, usually pretty good on updating us with their final scores throughout the night, but not so good in 0 week, so it's not a surprise that we won't have that final tonight. Excuse me while I refresh my throat. All right. So again, looking at this week, I still think um, the most impressive victory is Cheyenne South. Cheyenne South beating Evanston 42-10. I believe. Yeah, I picked Evanston to win that game. Cheyenne South proving me wrong. And good for them, 1-0. First time in program history. Big win for them, and of course, big win for Rock Springs. Beating Cheyenne East 21-20, holding on a 2-point conversion with no time left on the clock in the fourth quarter. Congratulations, Rock Springs. That is a huge victory. One of those that could potentially change the shape of 4A all season long. Update from our friends at WyoPreps after 3 quarters. It's Cheyenne Central 5, Natrona 0. Yes, you heard that right. 5-0. It was 0-0 at halftime. Cheyenne Central gets a blocked punt for a safety and also gets a field goal in the third quarter. So Cheyenne Central is up 5-0 on Natrona after 3 there in Casper. A reminder, that game started late because of the lightning delay that they had in Casper this evening. So they will be going late into the night tonight. I might stay awake for it. I might not. I don't know. So I'm going to just take a minute here. I'm going to watch the live stream from Juab in Star Valley, provided by our friends at the Star Valley Independent. Of course, my buddy Dal Erickson, a big part of that stream. He's one of the announcers for that stream, and of course writes for the Star Valley Independent. It's 41-14, Star Valley up on that one, and I just wanted to get into Star Valley and what they do and how they do it. Star Valley was going to be loaded this year anyway. But then they got Josh Dawson to transfer from Jackson to Star Valley. Josh Dawson was a heck of a player for Jackson last year, and Juab just scored on a really weird halfback pass. Anyway, Josh Dawson was going to be a huge player for Jackson, but ended up transferring from Jackson to Star Valley between his sophomore and junior years, and now as a junior, apparently has had a pretty good game tonight for the Braves. Was a little interesting there. You go from one rival to the other, but who am I to judge? And Josh having a big game tonight for the Braves as the Braves go for a repeat, trying to win the 3A title for a second year in a row. Anyway, Juab kind of getting some garbage time in here. Star Valley was up 41-0. Now that game is 41-20 with the extra point pending for Juab with just about a minute to go. The score is going to make that look a lot closer than it was. Star Valley absolutely dominated that game. Got some younger players in. Final from our friends at WyoPreps. Upton Sundance 56 lead Deadwood 0. Again, that was 49-0 at halftime. So seeing Upton Sundance get that 56-0 victory, not all that surprising. So Patriots open their 1A 11-man title defense with a pretty convincing victory. 49-0 at halftime, 56-0 the final, as Upton Sundance beats lead Deadwood, South Dakota. Excuse me for a minute as I update that score on WyomingFootball.com. Another thing that I've noticed tonight, a couple of shutouts. Kelly Walsh losing in a shutout. Jackson losing in a shutout to Teton, Idaho, and Upton Sundance with a shutout victory over Lead, South Dakota. It's not all that surprising to see shutouts in week one. Usually the defenses are ahead of the offenses at this point in the season. The offenses, a little bit more complexity, start to pick up steam later in the season. So seeing shutouts like this early in the season, not all that surprising. So again, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 games still active. Central and Natrona just started the fourth quarter. Central up 5-0. Star Valley and Juab, Utah almost done. It's 41-20, I believe, right now. Juab had to take a timeout before the extra point, and it is... Oh, they just kicked off 41-21. Star Valley up on Juab in that one. And last I heard, Rollins was up 7-6 on Moffat County, Colorado in the fourth quarter. That live stream has not worked all night. I've seen a couple tweets on it, but I have not seen much recently. So if you happen to know the Rollins final score, hit me up on Twitter at Wyoming Football. On Facebook, it's facebook.com/Wyoming Football History. Or just leave a comment here in the YouTube live stream. That would be awesome. So, all right, we have an update. Um, Rollins, Colton Garlington is the hero tonight. As he catches the touchdown pass with 37 seconds left, Rollins beating Moffat County, Colorado, 15-12. That game with 37 seconds left. I am going to find out if this game is a final yet or not. So, sounds like Rollins is going to get the victory over Moffat County, Colorado. The Colton Garlington, the hero tonight, with the touchdown in the last minute. So good for Rollins. Congratulations to the Outlaws. Looks like they're going to get that victory. Haven't seen an official final yet, but 15-12 is the score that I saw on Twitter just a moment ago. All right, and we have a final from Afton. Star Valley has defeated Juab, Utah, 41-21. Awesome live stream by the Star Valley Independent guys. Thanks so much to them for providing that live stream tonight. So again, the final: Star Valley 41, Juab, Utah 21. And give me a second as I update that score on wyoming-football.com. Reminder. If you want to check out the final scores from this week's games, and of course all the week's games, if you go to wyoming-football.com and click on results by year, and then there's 2016 right at the top, all of this year's results, this year's full schedule, including kickoff times, which you won't find at the Wyoming High School Activities Association website. I've got them. They're all here. The entire season schedule right here on wyoming-football.com. You can go there. The manual way to get there is wyoming-football.com/2016.html. I'm still looking for that Rollins final score against Moffat County, Colorado. That's all the typing and tweeting and clicking. Apologize for the little dead air there. But trying to find that score as I try to bring you these updates, I am, I got to take the time to find these. So occasionally I have little periods of dead air, and I apologize. Bear with me. Of course, if you want to chat, hit me up on Twitter at Wyoming Football, facebook.com/Wyoming Football History, or come up in the chat here on YouTube. A quick refresher as we wait for these last couple finals to come in. The final scores from tonight so far: Cheyenne South, big victory, beating Evanston 42-10. Might be the biggest victory, most impressive victory in the state tonight. Dan Gallus getting his first win as Cheyenne South head coach. Congratulations there. Gillette beating Kelly Walsh 43-0. Again, that game was 7-0 at halftime. Gillette with a big second half shutout victory in the season opener for the Camels. Rock Springs barely holds on to beat Cheyenne East. Rock Springs wins 21-20. East took advantage of a shanked punt scored on the last play of the game, then went for two, and Rock Springs defense held. So Rock Springs holds on the last 2-point conversion on the last play of the game and holds on by the skin of their teeth for a 21-20 victory, and a very important victory for that Tiger program. That could set the course for the rest of their season. We all know East can overcome that loss, so I think a bigger victory for Rock Springs than it is a loss for Cheyenne East. Sheridan, with the 42-13 victory over Laramie, Sheridan led in that game 42-0. Laramie gets a couple garbage time touchdowns. Lyman beat Altamont, Utah 36-8 tonight. That was a 5 p.m. kickoff. That was the first final of the year. Newcastle beats Custer, South Dakota 48-2. Powell, in a real tight, sounds like it was a great game against Miles City, Montana. Powell beats Miles City 27-20. Of course, Miles City is always a tough team to beat, so good victory for Powell there. Star Valley 41, Juab Utah 21. That game again 41-0. Juab with 3 garbage time fourth quarter touchdowns. Star Valley very impressive in their first attempt with the 3A title defense. Teton, Idaho just took it to Jackson. It was 40-0, and it wasn't even that close. Jackson really struggled in that season opener. Be interesting to see how that carries over for the rest of the year. Upton Sundance with that 56-0 victory over Lead Deadwood, South Dakota. They were up 49-0 at halftime, running clock in the second half in that one, and they still got another touchdown. The 3 games that are active, Central Natrona. Central up 5-0 on Natrona in the fourth quarter there in Casper. Rollins, last I heard, was up 15-12 on Moffat County, Colorado, late in the fourth quarter. And Hewlett and Meeteetse are also playing a 6-man game. I don't expect to hear a final on that one tonight. All right, a quick update from our friends at Wyo Varsity. Central apparently has missed a field goal, but still up. So Central still holding on to that 5, my favorite final score. Central up 5-0 on Natrona, 7 minutes to play. As I mentioned earlier in the stream, there's only been one time in the last 80, 90 years that a Wyoming high school football team has scored exactly 5 points and won the game. That was Cheyenne East back in the 2006 playoffs. They beat Natrona 5-3. What's really interesting is Natrona may lose again to that, and it might be again to a Cheyenne team. So the number 5 popping up in some very weird spots here. But Central, again, leads that game 5-0. Thanks again to our friends at Wyo Varsity. 7 minutes to play there. All right. Oh, we do have a final. Final from Rollins. Rollins wins 15-12. Of course, as I mentioned, Colton Garlington was the hero there. Scores a touchdown in 37 seconds to go. So Rollins beats Moffat County, Colorado, 15-12. So, excuse me, I just updated that on my Twitter. Of course, Twitter at Wyoming Football. And now I'm going to update the score on wyoming-football.com. I'm not just a live stream. Of course, I'm updating these scores throughout the night. And feel free to check that out, wyoming-football.com. So, with that Rollins victory, Wyoming very, very impressive in out-of-state games. Lyman, Newcastle, Powell, Rollins, Star Valley, and Upton Sundance, all with victories in out-of-state competition tonight. The only Wyoming team to lose an out-of-state contest was Jackson. They fall to Teton, Idaho, but those other 6 teams holding up the Cowboy State's football reputation very, very well tonight. So that's something any of us across the state can feel good about. Unless you're Jackson, then you don't feel so good about that. But big night for the Cowboy State. A little peek ahead at the rest of what's going on tomorrow. There were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 either jamborees or scrimmages scheduled for tomorrow as part of 0 Week. There were 8 today as well. The only thing I saw from any of those scrimmages was the Pinedale Big Piney scrimmage. Unofficially, Pinedale beat Big Piney 6-0, but that was not a live full-out game. But Pinedale and Big Piney getting together in Sublette County. Pinedale, the only score in that scrimmage. Certainly was not a full-on, full-out game. But Pinedale, with their new head coach, Mitch Espeland, who's a Douglas native, and a really young guy. It makes me feel old. Anyway, he's the new coach there in Pinedale. Good start for them. The other ones, Lander had a couple. The Lander JV hosted Wind River, and the Lander Varsity hosted Thermopolis in some scrimmage action. Glen Rock also hosted a scrimmage. They had Pine Bluffs and Torrington both came up to Glen Rock tonight. Mountain View and Green River got together in Green River. Grable and Shoshone got together in Shoshone. Haven't heard anything on any of those, and I don't expect to because they're scrimmages. Farsonen went down to Evanston, played the Evanston JV. Cokeville and Kemmer got together in Kemmer for a scrimmage. Tomorrow, as I mentioned, Douglas and Southeast will both be in Wheatland. Dubois, Midwest, and Snake River are going to get together at Casper, Natrona in a six-man jamboree that was originally scheduled for Midwest, but has to be moved because of the troubles with the Midwest school and the gas leaks and all of the toxins in the air and in the school there. Midwest students attending school in Casper right now, so all of the Midwest football games are also tentatively scheduled for Casper as well. That jamboree going to be at Casper, Natrona with Dubois and Snake River. Guernsey, Sunrise, Riverside, and Tinsleep all going to KC, and they're going to have a six-man jamboree in KC tomorrow. That's going to kick off about noon. Lovell and Buffalo are going to get together for a scrimmage. That's going to be about 1. Lusk and Burns getting together in Burns for a morning scrimmage about 10 a.m. Moorcroft and Wright are both going to Bighorn. They're going to do a little triangular jamboree there, about 10 a.m. kickoff there. Riverton and Cody are going to get together Cody tomorrow, about 3 p.m. And that game scrimmage was originally scheduled for tonight. They went ahead and moved it to Saturday. Also, Rocky Mountain's going to go over to Powell. They're going to take on the Powell JVs in a scrimmage at 1 tomorrow. I think it's kind of interesting here that, again, I think that the two biggest storylines, Cheyenne South beating Evanston by 32. I'm not surprised to see Cheyenne South win. I am surprised to see Cheyenne South win by 42-10 score over Evanston. Really impressive victory there from the Bison. The other big 4A storyline is the Rock Springs East game. I knew that was going to be a thriller. That's why I picked it as my game of the week, and Rock Springs wins that game 21-20 on the final play of the game. Rock Springs coming up with that defensive stand, stopping that East 2-point conversion. Central Natrona now the only active game that I expect to hear a final on tonight. And again, that was 5-0 Central going into the fourth quarter. Reminders, follow me on Twitter at Wyoming Football, Facebook.com/Wyoming Football History. If you've got any questions, hit me up on the live stream here on YouTube. That'll work as well. Real quick peek at Week 1 contests. I think Powell Douglas is going to be interesting, especially with Powell's victory tonight over Miles City, Montana. I think the Natrona East game now has a different dimension. East, of course, now coming off a loss, and Natrona down to Cheyenne Central right now. Natrona and East might both be 0-1 going into that game, and that's a scary proposition for either of them. Also, an interesting game now is South Central. South, of course, big victory for them. Central beating Natrona right now, so the winner of South Central could be 2-0 going into Week 2. That's an interesting one. I do think the Pinedale-Glen Rock game is going to be interesting. I'm curious to see how Mitch Espeland does in his debut in Pinedale. It gets a real tough test, though, with Glen Rock. I also think the Riverside KC game in 6-man will be interesting. Riverside, of course, moving down to 6-man from 11-man. Riverside will be ineligible for the playoffs this year because of that. Be interesting to see how they stack up against the defending 1A 6-man state champions from KC. And I think the most intriguing interclass game, especially after tonight's results, 2 big wins tonight. Upton Sundance and Newcastle both had blowout victories over South Dakota squads, and now Upton Sundance will play each other. Upton Sundance and Newcastle, will play each other in Week 1. That's a really, really interesting game, and can't wait to see how that one comes out. The last game I want to mention to look ahead for Week 1, I guess I have a couple that I want to mention. It's not the last one. The first one I want to mention, Lingle, Snake River. Of course, Lingle ineligible for the 6-man playoffs this year. They play Snake River in Bags Be interesting to see how Lingle handles the transition to six-man against perennial contenders there, Snake River. But also, I think another interesting game is going to be Kimmer Rocky Mountain. Kimmer unfortunately enters this season on a 28-game losing streak. If they lose all 8 games this year, they set the state record for consecutive losses. I hope that doesn't happen. I don't wish that on anyone, but it's a possibility. And I've said for a long time, I said this last year, I said this year, that if Kemmer is going to break that streak, it's going to be early in the season. I think Kemmer's best chance to break the streak is probably in the first 4 games. If they don't win in the first 4 games, they're going to have a real tough time winning in any of the second 4 games. I hope they can knock this streak off. I hope they can end it. But at the same time, if you're in Rocky Mountain, you don't want to be the team that gets victimized. Rocky Mountain's going to do everything in their power to keep Kemmer from beating them and ending their streak on their home turf. Quick update from our friends at YO Varsity, the Casper Star Tribune. Still Central 5, Natrona 0, with about 4.5 minutes to go. Looks like Central got a defensive stop with about 4.5 minutes to go, so Central ball up 5-0 with about 4.5 minutes to go. I just got my second verification. Rollins did indeed beat Moffat County tonight. That final was 15-12. So with this last game kind of hanging on, I think if you are savvy enough to be a part of this live broadcast, you are savvy enough to follow along in other locations if you would like. I'm going to call it a night. Thanks for hanging out with me. I hope you found it interesting. Let me know what you thought. Hit me up on Twitter. I've said it before, I'll say it again, at Wyoming Football on Twitter. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Facebook.com/Wyoming Football History. I hope you've got a kick out of this. I hope you enjoyed it. I've gotten a kick out of it. It's basically been you seeing me do what I normally do on a Friday night as I talk about it. Normally I don't talk about it. I just kind of look for the scores, give updates, think, oh my gosh, this just happened? Really? It's kind of cool to have you be a part of it. Let me know how I did. Let me know if there's things you'd like me to change, different things you'd like to see. This was kind of the test run, and I'm open to suggestions. So thanks for your time. Thanks for your attention. Go follow me, and we'll see you next week.